Hey guys, my name is Jeff Stevens and I'm a game developer. I develop CultGame, which is a strategy text RPG game where you start your own cult, very similar to Dwarf Fortress or Liberal Crime Squad. And it has been 2 years since I went full-time indie game dev. I thought it'd be a cool time to show you guys sort of side-by-side comparisons of what the game looked like when I started versus what it looks like now. So we're going to show that in this video, and then after that, we're going to show you some incremental progress that has been made since the last devlog, some things we've added to the game. And then after that, I'm going to sort of share my feelings, like a little bit of a retrospective on what it's like to go full-time indie game developer and leaving the corporate world, what it's like being self-employed, the emotions surrounding it, and what you can expect if you are doing any sort of taking the plunge creative venture like that. So we'll get into it. So the first thing we're going to show today is the side-by-side comparison of what CultGame looked like when I first started it as sort of a silly side project I had while I was working at college, and what it looks like now. So I'd say the first thing that we can think of right now is that the entire UI has changed. We no longer just are printing to the terminal. Normally we use a library. We have colors now. The UI is much more arranged correctly. We have color-coded things. It is, I am proud of how it looks right now, and I think it's much more readable, and the form factor is made to look more like the shape of books and novels nowadays. It's that size, so I assume people are going to be able to read at a screen width or a game window width at that size. We completely changed the engine or framework we used for the game. Previously, it had like no engine, and we were just sort of like hacking stuff onto a like a rusty chassis. Now I've made a custom engine slash framework which relies upon the design pattern of the model view controller framework that a lot of web development platforms use. So that's been added, and it's much more easy to work with and much more mentally manageable, much less complex than the old way stuff was coded. So that's great. Other improvements is we have sound everywhere now. We have sound effects. We've purchased sound effect licenses, so we have a lot of good sound effects. We've contracted a musician, Evan Stevens. He's wonderful, to create a whole soundtrack for CultGame. It's already finished at this point. We're getting more art pieces done by our artist Little Bit Space. Previously, it was me just monkeying around in a text editor trying to make ASCII art, but now we have a guy who's he has it on lock. He knows what he's doing. So art looks better. The sound was almost non-existent before. Now it's existent and it sounds great. We have features like world generation. Previously, the world generation was very small and not much else existed other than just the terrain on each tile. Now we have populations on tiles with individual cultures. Each tile can have tile sites or special features generated for it. Tiles have resource numbers associated with themselves. We've also added culture factions like nations and religions that can spread and generate around the map. We've added procedurally generated histories, and all of this was from nothing beforehand. So it just sort of was a map. It just sort of existed, but we really filled out the map, and it's still a lot more needs to be done. But we're really excited about the progress we made on that. Other than that, we've added like a preaching system, which is like it shows the spread of religion and how you can spread your religion around a world map by going and speaking to members of tiles. So I'd say, yeah, that's a pretty good place to conclude our comparison on what was before and what is now. But that's 2 years of game development. Now I want to talk about the things that we're adding to CultGame since the last devlog. So when I first thought of the idea for CultGame, I was completely doing it in the realm of funny and silly. I always wanted there to be part of the game where you could go and take your little squad of cultists and go out in the world and do something absurd. And I thought it'd be funny, like, hey, I can get my vegan hippie death squad cult, and we can go to the homeless shelter and start kidnapping homeless people that we will brainwash into our new members, right? And I always wanted that to be a thing. I took inspiration from Liberal Crime Squad, where you could do something similar to that, from Dwarf Fortress, where you could just in that game, anything can happen because you have two components in the game, and very many interactions can occur between any two components in the game, so you can create ridiculous stories or absurd situations that people will become enraptured by and tell stories about to their friends. I wanted that to happen. So what I did is I developed a crusade action in the game where you can do that. You can take a squad of your cultists to a location to do something. And that might be what I suggested earlier. You can go to the homeless shelter and kidnap people. You could go to a cave and try to find any bugs or animals in the cave. You could go to a dungeon and raid it. You could go to the wealthy quarter and rob a house. And also, I mean, this isn't all about attacking stuff. You can go and you can preach to people at these locations and flirt with them, attack them. Well, that's still aggressive, but anyway, yeah. That's going to be a part of the game now. Crusading, going to a location, doing a little dungeon crawl reminiscent of a liberal crime squad or rogue, and, you know, fighting things, looting things, talking to people, flirting with people. That's what it's going to be. Still not 100% finished yet, but I'm happy with the way it's turning out so far. So good stuff for that so far. That's the Crusade game mode, and that's being worked on. We'll probably get a full video on about that soon. Okay, so the next thing past the Crusade game mode that I want to talk about are rituals. Rituals are something that I've just started to develop the UI for, but it's going to be another core thing you can do in Cult Game, which is taking one of your cultists or a few of them and telling them to do a ritual for the month or for the turn. And what the rituals that I have right now to take a look at are the sacrifice ritual, because you can't not make a cult game, a game about cults, and not let people sacrifice things or sacrifice each other, right? And what that looks like in game is you can take a character and they die by being sacrificed, and or an animal or sacrifice items and then you generate resources which you can use to buy new beliefs and research new things about your religion. You get upgrade points, basically, EXP kind of. Or the specific sacrifice can generate new theological revelations or benefits. So it has some interesting random effects too that you can sort of discover over time. And the other one, you know, you can't not make a game about your own cult without having a demon summoning ritual. And we love the art for the demon summoning, and we're excited about this. Thank you, a little bit space, for that. Summon a demon. It spawns under your control the month after the ritual is done. And it demands a blood tithe, which means you need to pay it blood each month or else it will go away. It sort of creates a new resource in the game, the blood resource, which I'm specifically going to design for blood cults. I've planned such that you can, let's say you capture those people from the homeless shelter, you have them in your custody, and then you can bleed them each month. You can make them bloodlet for you each month to generate blood that you can use to pay your demon blood tithe. And the demons are just going to be really strong units you can control. And that's a brief overview of Crusade and Ritual. For the rest of this video, I'm going to talk about sort of how I feel after 2 solid full years of indie game development on my own. And I guess the first question is it worth it? That's usually what some of the subtitles on these types of videos are for indie game retrospective. Was it worth it? For me, yes. It was 100% worth it, yes. But you do have to recognize what it costs. But I'll tell you why it's worth it for me. It's my dream to give people experiences, and good experiences. And you know, I manifest that in many different ways. I like teaching people. I like cooking for people. But I figured one that's very special for me is video games. So getting to be able to do that is very life-giving, and I love it. And I do want to reference something right now that I think will help some of you guys. I'm currently reading, let me pick it up right now. You might have seen it. You might have seen it in the background of some of my videos before, but this is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. One of the main takeaways or taglines is journey before destination. Life before death, strength before weakness, journey before destination. I figured if I did the standard normie job life where I work in an office and I get paid pretty darn well and I have good benefits, I'm going to be on a journey that's going to turn me into a person that is not who I am. I'm very in touch with my inner child. I like laughter, I like silliness, I like absurdity, and these are not a lot of things that are allowed in an office environment. It's, you know, not to say that I didn't respect the people who I worked at my office job with, you know, they do what they have to do. They work hard, and they serve people, and that's great. We need people like that. But I'll tell you that there was a part of me deep in my heart, I'd say it's my inner child, that felt like it was getting pushed into a corner, or it was sort of being made smaller by the day in an environment like that. I couldn't let that happen. I don't want to lose touch of myself. I would be a product of my environment. I would be a product of what the institutions wanted me to be. Some might say it's risky to do a start your own business, whatever it is. But I would caution, or I would throw back, how much riskier is it to live a life that is not your own, or to risk becoming someone that you know is not you? And I think that's pretty risky. So I'm testing it out, and I like it so far. I get to I'm learning quite a bit while I'm doing independent game development. The rewards are very great emotionally and fulfilling. But yet again, I think what a lot of people would like me to touch on, and I will, is the financial side of things. I'd say in 2 years of doing this, I've not made any money other than a little bit of donations that I've received on Ko-Fi, and I've decided that those are immediately going directly into the business side of things to make the game better, because I want people's donations, I want that to directly make the game better. I'm not asking for donations so I can buy a steak dinner or something. No, I don't want to live in excess. I want you guys and the effort that you put into putting your own blood, sweat, and tears on the line, your money, to make the game better. But yeah, I've not made a significant amount of money. I've been living off of savings while I've been doing game development, and I'm very fortunate. Some people wouldn't even be able to do that for very long at all. I've gotten to a point where that I need to get a part-time job, and I did, and it's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Some people might feel at that point, if you get a part-time job, you've failed. You have failed because you can't spend any of your time on this anymore. I don't think so. There's a quote from another one of Sanderson's books, which is, and I almost remember it verbatim now. It's from a storyteller talking about how he prefers to live his life as a storyteller. And he says, "Give me 10 hours of swabbing a deck every day and think of the stories I could imagine with my mind being free. But if you give me 10 hours a day of adding sums, I will want nothing more at the end of the day than to come home to a warm bed and a thoughtless evening." Even as a game dev, and I do very thinky, creative stuff all day, I don't honestly mind going and working a shift and just doing physical labor, just doing stuff that is not necessarily, I don't have to think a whole lot. And I don't get paid a whole lot, that's okay, but I didn't get into this for the money. I got into this because I want to figure out who I am, and that's worth more than anything to me. As I say this, I don't want to inspire any lack of caution with finance to people. If you are considering independent game development, you need to still be financially responsible. I have been very financially responsible with everything I've done thus far, and I live very frugally. Minus the books that I got from the thrift store, but those are like $1 a piece. It's not that bad. When I grew up in our educational system and then going to the corporate world, there was this pressure that that I received over time from some people, and also from even some people in the game industry, that if you work in games or if you work in art, it sort of shows a failure to launch, or a Peter Pan syndrome where you don't want to grow up and face the reality that you can't make money doing this. And it's sad that people have thought that way, and that has influenced me. There's sort of a hand wave to game development, like, oh, it's immature, you won't make any money, it's kind of a stupid thing to pursue. Some people say that, and yet people like me, we don't mind if we don't make much money. Gamedev YouTube is full of videos like The Great Gamedev Delusion, Gamedev and Depression, Gamedev and Anxiety. I think this space is one of the most conducive industries that at least I've seen in my short life to stress and anxiety. This space is very conducive towards people who have a dream. It takes forever to get down the road to accomplish said dream, and along the way there's like tons of roadblocks. Life gets in the way, and the financial infeasibility of it keeps coming up and up again, because you don't know until you release it how financially successful it's going to be. It's tough. So I understand, and at least my opinion on that is, I realize that it's hard. I feel that. I feel it. Journey before destination. I'm not worried about if I'm going to be financially successful. I need to accept that. And I think I'm like on the verge of like fully in my soul accepting it. But yeah, I'm not worried about that. I am glad that I'm here with you. And I'm glad we're doing this together. I don't know if it's game dev for you, but I hope you get to do the thing that you love for the rest of your life and are supported by your friends, your family. I don't think we should let other people bully us into identifying with their definitions of success. We don't have much time here, and I don't know the truth of reality or anything, but I know a little bit of it. I feel like I can see it, the light coming through the cracks a little bit as I figure more out about the world. And I think enjoying the process of what you do and making sure that it benefits the community and making sure all parts of the process are good for the world is important. We're making our game with open source code. The code is available on my GitHub for most of the utilities to make the game, and hopefully more of it's going to be put out soon. We're putting educational videos out here and inspirational videos and just fun devlogs out here on YouTube so we can inspire and educate more people for game development. We're going to put the game out at a fair price. It's going to be $10. It's cheaper than a Chipotle bowl nowadays. I want anyone to be able to get into this experience and not have see the $100 price tag or then however much the new Nintendo games are. It's going to be crazy. Uh, this is going to be ethical. This is going to be something that is good for the world. All right. Take care. Love you guys. Bye bye.